Good afternoon, and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners Board meeting for Tuesday, June 11, 2019. I am John Hutchings, Chair of the Board, and to my right is Commissioner Ty Menser. To his right is La Bonita Bomar, the Clerk of the Board. To her right is Ramiro Chavez, the County Manager, and to his right is Elizabeth Petrich, Deputy Prosecuting Attorney. So with that, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Commissioner Ty Menser.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to ask for approval of today's agenda.
Move to approve agenda dated June 11, 2019.
I second that. Any discussion, additions, deletions, anything? Nope. Let me just look real quick. Those items got added?
Yes, sir.
Yes, they did. Okay. All in favor? Yeah, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have an agenda. Move for approval of the board meeting minutes from June 14, 2019.
I make a motion to approve board meeting minutes from June 4, 2019.
I second that. Any questions or comments about it and changes? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that carries. And now it's the time of the board meeting where we have an opportunity for the public to address the board. And so I'll read the guidelines. We welcome comments from the public at all meetings. Well, not all meetings, but many meetings. However, there are some guidelines governing comments to ensure that they're appropriate and don't take advantage of the fact that most of these are on TV. Board does not respond to the public comment because this is a chance for the public to address the board, and we just listen, although we will do follow-up when needed. Speakers are limited to a total of 3 minutes to address the board. You're not allowed to donate your speaking time to another person. We reserve the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for a good cause. Please silence your phones. Yep. And no comments that are lewd or offensive to a reasonable person. We ask you please be respectful. And no outbursts of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature. For example, a promotion for a for-profit business. And any materials that are provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 42.56 of the RCW. Remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal aren't appropriate either. So with that, what I'll do is I will call the folks who have signed up, and I'll call the first person, then I'll mention the next person who's up next so they can be prepared and ready to go. And with that, La Bonita Bomar has the timer, and the timer's up on your right as you're speaking. It starts at 3 minutes and it times down, and you'll hear a ping at the end, and that means your time is done. However, you don't have to stop mid-sentence. Go ahead and complete your sentence or your thought just without taking advantage of it, and then we just move on. Okay, here we go. First up is Shelley Dilworth, followed by Michelle Brigham. Oh, will you get that right to your, yeah, there you go. That way the people at home can hear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am back again today to address the board on another matter that, again, I feel is pertinent to bring forward. Today the topic is going to be about responsibility. And I'm not just talking about individual responsibility, I'm talking about ethical responsibility, moral responsibility, and legal responsibility. Now, I took the liberty of going out to Webster's Dictionary to look up the formal definition of what responsibility is. And that was from my knowledge and to bring forward for my topic today. Part of that legal definition is something that you should do because it is morally right, legally required. Okay, so my question today that I'm posing to the commissioners is, when the county discovers that something is done from the beginning incorrectly, at what point is it that they need to step in and correct that wrong and make it right? And whose responsibility is it to make that correction? And at what point does it become a legal responsibility, a moral responsibility, and an ethical responsibility? I work for the state as well, and I go to a ethics training every year to ensure that I make sure the people that I'm processing things for are done correctly. And that includes that part of my responsibility, to make sure things are done ethically, morally, and legally correct. I'm going to pose that question to the board, not only to the board, but to the people that process applications and continue to look at these applications as they're processing them. Because I, in my opinion, do not feel that that is being done and done in that correct way. So that's my question today for the board, is where the board stands on that and how they view that responsibility. Whose responsibility is it to make sure that things are processed correctly, to make sure things are done ethically, morally, and legally? And when it's not, whose responsibility is it to correct that wrong and make it right? And that, again, will be posed to you in an email, as it was last week, and I will expect an email response from you. Thank you, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Michelle, followed by Ed Kenny.
Hello, Commissioners. Michelle Hawkins-Brigham. As you know, I live on 128th Avenue, Southeast Yelm, Washington. I'm here today to speak further about the biosolids application on my street. The Nisqually Valley News ran an article. One of the property owners right next to the application site was never informed about this application. They're very upset about it. Every neighbor I've spoken to, which is most of them on the street, are upset about this application. And neighbors got together, erected signs on the corners of 128th Avenue in opposition, and those signs were cut down. The first sign within a few hours, the next sign within 24 hours, and all that were left were strings. What I also wanted to mention was that the citizens of Yelm, many citizens are upset about this, so Preserve the Commons has sent a petition, has had that petition available in the Masonry Cafe and the co-op, various places, doctors' offices, realtors throughout the town. And we've collected probably around 500 signatures. I'm submitting today the first batch of citizen names, addresses, and signatures that are opposed to this application on 128th Avenue Southeast. And we're CCing Governor Jay Inslee, Thurston County Commissioners, and Mayor J.W. Foster. And this is going to Maya Bellin with the Department of Ecology this week. And we will continue to gather signatures. So we're anticipating around 500 signatures will be submitted to the Department of Ecology from Yelm and surrounding citizens this week. And then last, I would like to invite the commissioners, actually Preserve the Commons would like to invite the commissioners. We have one more presentation on June 20th, Sludge, What's Really in It. The presentation will be at the Yelm Community Center the speaker begins at 6 until about 8. And Dr. Richard Honors, PhD, is being invited to Yelm. He's a microbiologist and researcher. He's spent decades studying sludge, biosolids, what's in it. He has a tremendous amount of data and information that he's going to share with citizens in Yelm. And we're expecting quite a crowd to come to this evening. So we're inviting again the mayor, and please, commissioners, if you can make it, and anyone from the county. And I've got all of these documents to give you. Recently, the Nisqually Valley News, in their facts on biosolids, said that biosolids are basically harmless. All of us that have signed these petitions disagree. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kenny.
Thank you. Thanks. Glad to be here, commissioners and county staff.
I just had a single question today, in addition to Michelle's testimony.
Could you introduce yourself for the
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yes,
my
thank
apologies.
you. And about where you live in the county.
Yes, I'm Ed Kinney. I'm a former public school teacher in the county, and I live out on just off of Bald Hills Road, and I put my P.O. box for any mail on the note. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we did a search, public record search through the ecology files, and about 5 feet of them, and we found one interesting one in let's see, it was spring of 2014. I don't have the file right here, but it indicated that Thurston County had cut off their contract with Fire Mountain Farms, which is the disposal agency that is intending to put the sludge next to Michelle's place. And we were wondering what the conditions were. I looked through the documents. I couldn't find any reason why you terminated your contract with them. Apparently, they used to take sludge from Lot Corporation. I mean, from Lot Partnership. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That exhausts the list of folks that have signed up. Brad, can you tell me if anybody has signed up, or Paulie, if anybody else has signed up? No. All right. So if someone has not signed up but would like to address the board, please come on up and do so. You're welcome to. All right. Thank you. That takes us to agenda item number 2, the county manager's update.
I have a few updates for you, commissioners, but I'm going to be going off script, if I may. I would like to ask the Director of Community Development, CPED Director to come, Josh Cummins, and to give a brief presentation about Cindy Wilson. Cindy Wilson is our manager for the long range planning in CPED, and she will be retiring at the end of June. However, I believe she's going to take some vacation days leading to her last day here in the county, and I believe her last day in the office is this week. And we don't want to pass an opportunity that perhaps acknowledge her commitment to the county, her contributions to the county over the last many, many years, and that will give you an opportunity to say thank you for her service as well.
Thank you, County Manager. I am Joshua Cummings, the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development, and I did want to take this opportunity to share my appreciation publicly for the great work that Cindy Wilson has provided the county in service. She's been with Thurston County for about 26 years, and before that was with the state for 10 years. And in my short time here in this leadership role, she has helped in ways countless and tremendous for the citizens of Thurston County. I asked her staff and the team, and I agree with this same sentiment. When the first thing comes to your mind about Cindy Wilson, what would you like to say? And they all agreed that she's a people person, that she puts people first, that she thinks about projects in terms of how is it going to affect not only the citizens of Thurston County, but the workload for her team and staff. And that her heart was always there for us going forward to try and find the best information for the decisions to be made by the Board of County Commissioners. And I just wanted to just state that directly and out loud and publicly and say thank you for the great work that Cindy has done. Also, it's one of my most favorite things to embarrass Cindy Wilson. So if she would come on up and to the microphone.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to work here. I have been here quite a long time, so I've seen a lot of changes and a lot of great benefits for the citizens of Thurston County. It's one of the most interesting jobs I've ever had. It is different every day, and the hours just fly by. So again, it's been a pleasure working for Thurston County. All the staff here has been amazing. Thank you.
Wait, don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. Questions or comments? Any questions or comments?
No, thank you, Cindy, for your dedication.
I've told Cindy this story, but I'll just share it because it's true that I've been here 6 months, and a lot of the really hot button items that the county commissioners deal with fall under Josh and Cindy's purview at CPED. So I've spent a lot of time working with Allison and Cindy, and in particular, I sought those two out because I could tell right away that they were solid, good information, even-handed, had a lot of institutional knowledge. So I set up briefing after briefing with those two. And when Allison announced her departure, I hyperventilated for a few minutes, and then I just kept saying, well, we got Cindy, we've got Cindy, everything's okay, we got Cindy. And then a couple weeks later, we found out she was retiring, and I've been hyperventilating ever since. So thank you for your service to Thurston County, and I will miss you.
Thank you.
We need the monarch dog to come in, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say the same thing. In your tenure, 26 years, comparatively speaking, I've only been here a few minutes, which is like 2.5 years. But I have learned a tremendous amount from you, not just on an issue, but I mean looking at the entire issue. And so I thank you for that. And the same I did with Allison. So there are 2 huge holes to fill, and they will be filled, but it'll be a while before we get probably up to speed again. But I wish you absolutely the best, and thank you very much for your service to the citizens of this county.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So let me keep Cindy up here just real quick. And first, let me address that first concern. Cindy and I had that conversation about the hole and the gap that is being left. And she assured me that in all confidence, she has trained the team that she led very well to take on those new positions. So we've promoted from within Chris Chapeau to senior planner to fill Allison Osterberg's position, and are going out to hire the planning manager. So I'm going to take this quick moment. If you know anybody that's even close to Cindy's caliber that could fill those shoes, we're open to it, receiving that information now. So go to Thurston County NeoGov and apply. The other thing I'd like to say is we had an opportunity to have Cindy as leads and staffs the Planning Commission as well, along with the other members of her team. And in this last Planning Commission, which was her last Planning Commission as a staff member of Thurston County, we brought her up to the public comment podium so she could get comfortable with providing public comment to Thurston County on a number of those hot button issues that Commissioner Mincer mentioned. So while she might not be employed by Thurston County, I highly expect that we'll see her input on a number of those items that she's been.
So we will see Cindy in that podium in the
That's
few
my
months to
hope.
come. Yeah, that's good.
Any other thoughts or questions for Cindy?
I do. I have one question. That is, what would you say would be, out of 26 years, the highlight of your career?
Oh, my gosh.
It could be the most fun, whatever the most memorable. But nothing like people.
I thought it was a big step to create the permit center because in the past we were all isolated, physically isolated as well as topic isolated. So that was a big positive thing, and it's continued to improve over the years. I also believe that passing our critical errors ordinance was a really big undertaking, and providing so much outreach to the public and so many hearings. We had courtrooms filled with people and TVs over there. We had opportunities for everyone to participate, and I consider that a big accomplishment.
Oh, great. Thank you very much, Cindy. Anything else?
And
Just don't hesitate to come, let us know when we're screwing up.
Oops, sorry.
Sorry.
I can watch on Tuesday morning and then come in on Tuesday afternoon.
Right, that's right.
Well, Friday evening.
so you've all received an invite to attend her retirement celebration this Thursday. It'll be in this room. And if you have any questions on the time, let me know.
Great, thank you. Okay. Back to the county manager.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. I'd like to follow up on a couple of public testimony that you received last week. The first one was from Mr. Pettit, and he provided to you a copy of a map related to the potential location of the new courthouse, which is in the Plum Street, the old City of Olympia City Hall, where he highlighted, as he found, a culvert that run across the property, and perhaps some of the challenges that we will have doing dealing with that particular culvert. I appreciate Mr. Pettit's perspective, as you have been briefed on the new courthouse project. That has been an element that we have identified in the past. That is something that if we get to the point of designing this particular site, on this particular site, there is something that we need to address in terms of the stormwater requirements during the design. So it is part of the overall project scope, and we have added funding to address the mitigation of the culvert located on that property. You also received public testimony from Ms. Dilworth, as she provided additional feedback today. And in fact, she did submit a series of questions to each one of you, I believe. So we are in the process, the staff is in the process to provide the responses to those questions. And at some point, we'll respond to Ms. Dilworth, specifically addressing those questions that she submitted. Also, I will follow up on not next week, because next week the Board of County Commissioners have been canceled. On the next meeting, I will follow up with Ms. Dilworth's testimony that you received today. The next item that I'd like to highlight for you, this is the time of the year that we are going to implement a fire safety burn ban. And this is a seasonal burn ban that we implement across the county. And what it does applies to residential yard waste burning as well as all land clearing burns. Recreational fires are allowed on private residential only, and also provides somewhat of a buffer on state and federal lands at campgrounds. So in the past, we have implemented this burn ban depending on the weather conditions. This time around, we're going to be implementing a little bit different strategy to be a little more consistent with other jurisdictions in the region. So we will be engaging the local fire chiefs, the Olympic Region Clean Air Act Agency, also known as ORCA, the Thurston County Public Health and Social Services, the Community Planning, Economic Development, Water Planning Division. We're also going to be researching the danger standards as outlined in the Washington Department of Natural Resources, DNR, as well as the U.S. Department of Agriculture Forest Services. At this point, the DNR is considered to be a low fire danger, and we will be continuing to monitor the moisture content as well as the potential fuel sources before the fire marshal, which is our director of the Community Planning and Economic Development, will make a determination to implement a burn ban. And again, the burn ban is seasonal. So at the time that determination is made, usually goes all the way to the end of September, with the option, depending on the weather conditions, to extend it if that is necessary. So more on that. And I will, on the upcoming meetings, I will keep you informed, as well as to the public, whether the burn ban will be implemented. And a news release will be issued as soon as that decision is made. So we post it online as well as in social media, so the public knows the burn ban is in place. Also coming up is the 4th of July celebration. And as part of the celebration of this wonderful nation is the use of fireworks. And on their County Code 6.68057, back in 2016, the Board of County Commissioners established an emergency ban on discharge of consumer fireworks. And the code states the county manager, after consulting with the fire marshal and other officials, may prohibit the discharge of consumer fireworks during the periods of extreme danger condition. It is a little bit different between the burn ban and the potential emergency ban of the discharge of consumer fireworks. I'd like to make sure the public understand the Thurston County Code 6.68057 does not put a ban on the purchasing of fireworks. It just implements a ban on the discharge of fireworks. Also, this code states the county manager needs to make a decision by June 27th. And that is a day before when the official sale of legal fireworks are implemented across the state. And again, in the past, we have looked at the weather conditions before making a determination or not. This time around, again, we will be engaging the fire districts and providing the fire chiefs, asking for their input. We will monitor the moisture content and potential fuel sources on the DNR site. And also, we will be working with the National Interagency Fire Center, the NIFC, and DNR, again, just to make sure that we make the right decision as we come along. Again, I like to stress the fact there's two different actions. One is the burn ban, which is seasonal, and the other one is the emergency ban on the discharge of fireworks, which will take effect June 28th through July 4th.
Thank you.
That's all I
Questions or
have.
comments?
I guess the one thing I would ask is that any of this activity on tribal reservations, that's exempt, is that right?
So any of either the safety burn ban or the discharge of fireworks, let me address the burn ban. It does not apply to federal lands nor reservation lands. On the discharge of fireworks, the ban only applied to the areas of unincorporated areas of the county. Each of the jurisdictions of the cities may have their own bans, which this may not apply to those. Also does not apply to any reservation lands in the county as well.
Thank you.
The fireworks ban has not been yet, the decision has not been made, correct?
No, it needs to be done by June 27th.
Okay, I think that was, I don't know if that was clear.
Okay,
So
thank
that's
you.
still a pending.
It's still a pending decision. Now we'll keep you updated as we move along and make a recommendation at that time.
So it could come before the 27th, but no later than the 27th.
It cannot come later than the 27th. It has to come before. That's the last day in
That's the last
which
day,
this
okay.
determination can be made.
And the other thing I got, or received anyway, was that there's no board meeting next Tuesday, the 18th?
Yeah,
So what?
June 18th, next
18th.
week, board meeting has been canceled.
Got it, thank you. Okay. Agenda item number 3 is the consent items A through E.
Yes, I'm prepared to make a motion on consent items A through E. I'd like to point out to the public, if you want to see these debated more than they are here, please watch our live streaming activities that usually commence at 9 a.m. on Tuesday mornings prior to this meeting. Anyway, I would move to approve consent items A through E.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve consent items A through E. Any discussion on any of those items?
No, sir.
Nope. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that motion passes. Agenda item number 4, department items, the first one is public defense, an amendment to the membership and purpose of Thurston County Law and Justice Council. And we have Patrick, yay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Patrick O'Connor,
Good afternoon.
Director of Public Defense. I'm joined here by John Thunheim, our county prosecutor. We are asking, I am the chair of the Thurston County Law and Justice Council this year, and we are here to ask the board to approve a resolution amending the membership and purpose of the Thurston County Law and Justice Council. Under RCW 7209-300, every county shall, by resolution or ordinance, establish such a council. We have such a council. This is an opportunity to make some changes to our existing charter that was updated back in 2012 by Resolution 14821. We took this issue to the council and formed a subcommittee and came up with recommendations on updating that charter, and those updates are reflected in the charter you have as attachment A to the resolution. Commissioner Mencher, you mentioned had a question this morning if there were any members that were previously excluded. I double-checked to make sure that there were not. What the council actually recommended is adding members, specifically our pretrial services director. We feel that that's an important member to this council. Obviously, in 2012, that department did not exist. So we've made that addition in addition to two community-based volunteer representatives. That was some feedback that we had from the council, that we could be more inclusive in the community and make it available to have a member, two members from our community that are interested in these issues. So we took that issue to the council, and that's included in the membership that's reflected in the updated charter. Another edit to the prior charter is that there's no longer a distinction being made between voting and non-voting members. The council felt that since we normally operate by consensus, that was no longer necessary. And so those are some of the highlighted changes from the previous charter. And if the board has, I don't know if the board has any questions, or John, if you have anything to add, just let me know. Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Gary.
And the county manager is added in there as well?
Yes.
Just for the community that might be watching,
Sure.
do you have a list of the diverse membership that we have represented on that body?
By name?
No, not by name.
Or is it posted online, you mean?
Agent, you know, which agencies are represented.
Sure.
Municipalities.
Right.
I just think that the public should know how diverse we are in solving problems. And this is a good example. I mean, we've got the public defense boss here, and not just the cops, the judges, the prosecutors, that kind of thing. We include everybody in our community to make this a success, and I might compliment you that you've been integral in involved in making this a successful endeavor for us.
I appreciate that, Commissioner. What I can do for the public's sake is go ahead and run down the proposed membership of this council. I think that may be a good reflection on
Sure.
who that council
Let the public
includes.
see.
Well,
Oh, no,
no,
okay.
were you going to verbally do that?
I could do it. I
Okay.
could not
but
do
is
that.
Is the council membership, is it posted on the county website or in any type of location where it's open to the public? They can see it?
The current membership is listed on the county website
That's-
under the Law
okay.
and Justice Council. I will say more to your point, Commissioner, that with the effort under this new charter is to be even more inclusive.
Yes.
So we've added, like I said, the pretrial services director, who's a key component to a lot of the efforts that we're doing in Thurston County when it comes to law and justice. And additionally, reaching out to our community to have 2 memberships awarded to representatives of individuals or groups in our community that care about these issues that law and justice will be talking about.
Perfect.
I'm good. I don't think we need the list. I just wanted to make sure that the public at large knew how much effort goes into this, and it's reflected in whether it's jail population or those folks that are served through other areas, whether that's mental health or drug court, veterans court. You know, we've got a lot of options that we're trying to put people through.
Yeah, and this proposal is available online on the commissioner's webpage as part
Okay,
of the
thank
agenda
you.
that you're considering today.
Perfect, good point, thank you, Gary. Yes, sir.
So thanks, Patrick, for this. The Law and Justice Council, I think, has a lot of potential because of kind of what Commissioner Edwards said of what a powerful group of folks involved when you have the corrections and sheriff and local law enforcement, local municipal leaders, county leaders, and then particular stakeholders regarding criminal justice. So the 2 citizen members is something that I'm really excited about, and I was very supportive of, just because we have a lot of, first of all, their perspective is important. Second of all, we have a lot of really busy people on the Law and Justice Council, judges and et cetera. And so to have, I'm excited about sort of the possibility of creating subcommittees, and the citizens could be, I would imagine, integral to that model where we have some folks looking at, reaching out around outside the jurisdiction, bringing new ideas. We definitely want to evaluate what we are doing and analyze ourselves, but I think we also want to look out. So much experimentation is being done around the country and around, including Canada and other places, about criminal justice policy that I'm hoping that our citizen members can be part of that, because I think would really energize the council. So I wanted to say that, and then I wanted to ask kind of, if we adopt this today, what would be the timeline for, like, how quickly would we be able to reach out and recruit for the citizen? I mean, what are we looking at in terms of a timeline? I know you guys are working on strategic goals as well.
We are. I don't think it's going to take us too long. Once we move past this issue, we have to craft some language and reach out to our community. And as we've indicated, we'd like the council to be able to make a recommendation to you as the board, so have an opportunity to review those applications. We've already had some interactions with some community groups, and so there may be a basis to make a recommendation. But I can't imagine it would take us too long. John and I have to work some language that we think is, crafted specifically to what we're looking for the council, but I can't imagine it would take too long. Yeah. And I mean, more to your point, and I know tying this to one of the county's initiative, I think what we're proposing here aligns squarely with initiative number 11. John and myself and the county sheriff were just in a meeting last week talking about these issues that are so important in our community and where we want to go and how these things tie in with Law and Justice Council and specifically initiative 11 and really making Thurston County an innovative leader in law and justice.
Very nice. Okay, is there a motion?
I would move to approve a resolution amending the membership and purpose of the Thurston County Law and Justice Council.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve a resolution amending the membership and purpose of the Thurston County Law and Justice Council. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Nope. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Agenda item number 5, CPED, Community Planning and Economic Development, Delegation of Signatory Authority. Joshua.
Hello, Joshua Cummings again, Director of Community Planning and Economic Development. This is a delegation of signature to the Director of CPED to sign the contract with the Washington Conservation Commission in the project of Voluntary Stewardship Program. We'll be hearing more from the CPED team and the folks from Washington Conservation Commission in the coming weeks on the great work that this partnership has done for the citizens of Thurston County. At this point, this is just the delegation of authority from the board to the director to sign the upcoming biennium contract that takes place from 2019 through 2021, not to exceed an amount of $240,000.
Any questions or comments?
No, VSPs can really be a useful program in rural parts of the county. I support this, so
I would
Okay.
like to thank you and commend you for your work involving this because it is going to make a difference to citizens in Thurston County, and I applaud you for your efforts.
Thank you, Commissioners.
And this is so that you can sign accepting $240,000 from the state.
Correct.
Got it.
Thank you.
For a worthwhile program. Good, thank you.
Getting revenue is always a positive thing.
It's always a good thing.
I would move to approve a delegation of signature authority to the Community Planning and Economic Development Director for the Voluntary Stewardship Program, VSP, biennium contract number K2024 with the Washington State Conservation Commission for ongoing implementation of the VSP from July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2021.
second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the delegation of signature authority. Any further discussion?
No, sir. No.
Nope. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Josh. Agenda item number 6, Public Works Contract Award for Olympic View Elementary Safe Routes to School Project. Matt Unzelman. Hello, Matt.
Good afternoon. I think I have something you guys will be excited about. Again, my name is Matt Unzelman, civil engineer, Thurston County Public Works. So on May 30th, we received 3 bids in response to a call for sealed bids. The lowest for the Safe Route to Schools project, which is in Thompson Place in between, kind of behind the Walmart between Martin Way and I-5 and Lacey. The lowest responsive bidder was Northwest Cascade from Puyallup, Washington, with a bid amount of $621,000. The part that I know you guys will be excited about is all construction is completely federally and state funded. There is no local
Yeah.
contribution. To quote Commissioner Edwards, that's good revenue.
Yep.
Improvements include the installation of traffic calming devices such as speed humps, raised intersections, bulb outs. We're also doing a lot of ADA improvements to improve accessibility. All these improvements are being installed along routes that kids walk to and from school. The project improvements were actually planned based upon community meetings that Public Health and Thurston County Public Works participated in, as well as communication with the Olympic View Elementary School. So today we're requesting permission from the county commissioners to award this project to Northwest Cascade. We're hoping to start soon. For obvious reasons, we want to make sure that we get all this construction work done while school is out so that we avoid the inconveniencing the school and the local community more than necessary.
Any questions or comments?
I don't think so.
Well, I guess the only thing I'd say is kids are 30% of our population, but 100% of our future. So it's a good investment. Thank you, Matt, for your hard work on that.
And with that in mind, and you being a civil engineer, please tell me we're putting in rumble strips.
I'm not going there, but no.
Being watched.
heard
He's
bits and
being
pieces.
watched.
Okay.
No rumble strips on this project.
Dag nabbit,
I
okay.
had the same question.
Too many, way too many houses.
Yeah, but good judgment went out on your
Yeah.
argument. All right, is there a motion?
Yes, sir. I would move to award the contract for the Olympic View Elementary Safe Routes to Schools project, that's CP number 61506, to Northwest Cascade Incorporated for a total amount of $621,621, and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions only, not for the changes in scope. Up to 20% of the contract, $124,324, or an aggregate of $745,945.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to award the contract for the Safe Routes to School project. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
6B, resolution to call for sealed bids for Albany Street Stormwater Pond in Rochester.
Good afternoon. Mark Maurer, Senior Civil Engineer with the Department of Public Works, Water Resources Division. If you remember, several weeks ago in Rochester, I made a presentation on this stormwater project that we're doing down in Albany Pond, and today we're here to ask you to approve a resolution to call for sealed bids to authorize the county engineer to set a date for the receipt of those bids. The project will replace an existing stormwater pipes and builds an infiltration pond to reduce localized flooding in Rochester. The project increases the amount of aquifer recharge by 24 acre feet. So if you imagine a football field to a depth of 24 feet, that's about how much extra water will be incorporated. And that will actually wind its way down to the Black River and be available to augment the flows in the Black River. The project is estimated to cost about $1.3 million, and going with the theme of the afternoon, we've actually received an ecology grant for $1.2 million. So,
Nice.
you know, if you guys keep going this afternoon, you're going to make a lot of money. So we're up at $1.2 million to fund most of the construction for this project. And that money actually came from the ecology stream flow restoration program that was passed in response to the Hearst decision. So this project is also feeding into that as well. The project is in alignment with the County Strategic Plan Initiative 8 to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community, and Initiative number 9, supporting environmental health and climate stabilization.
I'll turn to you first. Any questions or comments?
It's great. The Black River runs down into ultimately the Chehalis and helps me with my work with Chelan Basin Partnership, trying to get more water. And so this is a good project. Thank you.
Good.
And I think it'll even be cleaner water when it gets there.
It will be.
Than it has before because of your settling pond activity and stuff,
Yeah,
right,
we
Mark?
actually are, this has an engineered soil in the bottom of it to further treat the water before it's infiltrated into the aquifer.
And I do want to compliment you on your presentation the other day down at Rochester.
Thank you.
You did a very good job, and the public could easily see the benefit that was going to come from this. So thank you very much.
Thank
That
you.
was very good.
And Mark's a senior civil engineer. Of course he would. Yeah.
Well, I'm
would be-
also a landscape architect too, so I have a double whammy, so.
Oh, good. When would this guesstimate be done, completed?
Well, this is asking for us to go to bid. We have a few
Right.
little things to clean up on the plans, but we're hoping to be in construction in mid-August. And so we'll be finished before the rain
The
year
rains.
starts.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Good
So
job.
hopefully we can invite you all down for ribbon cutting,
Great.
so.
Yeah. Mark Maurer, thank you very much. Thank you. Is there a motion?
There is. I would move to approve the resolution calling for sealed bids and authorize the county engineer to set the bid date and time for receipt and opening of said bids for the construction of the Albany Street Stormwater Pond, Rochester retrofit, project CP number 27W08. And get that money from ecology to offset our budget.
Yeah.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Thank you, Mark, very much. Agenda item number 7, the biennial budget.
Thank you, Commissioners. This afternoon, I am requesting your adoption of the first amendment to the 2019-2020 budget. The amount on the overall changes includes revisions on the revenue and revisions on the expenditure. I'm going to walk you through at a high level some of those changes on the revenue for 2019, as well as the expenditures in 2019, and including the changes in revenue for 2020 and changes on the expenditures in 2020. It will be on 3 main areas. One is the general fund, the other one is the other operating funds outside of the general fund, and the third area will be capital projects. In the general fund, the changes in revenue in 2019 is $1,442,308. The changes on the general fund on the expenditures for 2019 is $724,784. The other operating funds changes in revenue for 2019 is $3,333,284. The changes in expenditures for 2019 for the other operating funds is $9,980,989. The changes on the capital projects for 2019 on the revenue side is $5,495,120. On the expenditure side in 2019 for the capital projects is $7,123,490. The changes in 2020 for the general fund in terms of the revenue is $1,194,859, and the changes in expenditure for 2020 on the general fund is $758,771. Changes on the other operating funds in 2020 and the revenue is $794,995. And the expenditure side is $728,991. For the capital projects, changes in revenue for 2020 is $1,455,000. And change on the expenditures for capital projects in 2020 is $1,650,000. Through all those potential changes, one of the key elements I'd like to clarify is the impact on the general fund is positive. At this point, we have a projected ending fund balance in 2019 on the general fund of $12 million. And again, that could change depending on the rate of expenditures that we encounter here in 2019. So this amendment includes technical adjustments, new grants, Fine-tuning the capital projects, that means that some projects that were scheduled to be delivered in 2018 for many reasons have not been able to do so, and we just carry over those amounts in expenditures and revenues into 2019. And those are the main drivers on the changes on the capital projects as part of this amendment. It also includes a few items that are in response to actions taken by the state legislature. That includes mainly the revenue that we receive as a result of the court impact fees that have been reinstated for the county. The first amendment following the close of the prior fiscal year always includes an adjustment of the ending fund balances. The board adopts each budget before the end of the fiscal year. You approved this in December 2018. Finance managers estimate what they think the ending fund balance will be in each fund. This technical adjustment resets the fund balance to the actual amount in the accounting system. That is the ending fund balance of 2018, just to clarify. This amendment affects every county fund, as we stated, general fund, other operating funds, as well as capital projects. A few of the highlights of this first quarter budget amendment includes the creation of 2 new legal assistants for the Sheriff's Office to manage the firearms applications and the public records request. The firearm applications, that was as a result of initiative passed by the voters of Washington State. Next is funding for the increasing cost of the medical payments for the LEOF 1, that will be the law enforcement officers and firefighters retirees. We have an obligation based on contract to continue to provide services for those individuals who have retired from law enforcement. And that will be medical expenses. Also included in this amendment will be salary increases for judges and the prosecutor as mandated by the state legislature. Funding, you also included funding for interpreter services for both courts, superior and district courts. Also include grants from Target Zero, hazard mitigation, the voluntary stewardship program, the Coverdale grant, the opioid overdose, and the victim advocate program. Also included in this amendment is studies for the Parks and Trails Plan, as well as the Parks and Road Impact fees. Carryover from numerous capital projects, as I stated earlier, including roads, stormwater, solid waste, and utilities. There are 4 resolutions as a result included on the motion today. Those are included as A, B, and C. The attachments A includes a resolution that addresses the operating budget, revenues, and expenditures. Appendix B deals with the budget, revenues, and expenditures. Appendix C is position control, where you take an action to create those positions, as I stated. And also attachment D is the ER&R, also known as the equipment rental and replacement, which includes the acquisition of vehicles as part of this amendment. Notices of your action today were posted on May 17 and May 24, and the Olympian and online, and we have received no comments on this proposed action. At this point, I will open for any questions that you may have or any comments.
Questions, comments? Please.
Could you tell the viewing audience where they might find this very complicated set of budget papers, should they want to review it? Because it's a substantial amount of money. Somebody out there might want to take a look. Where would they look?
Yeah, there is a lot of information, and step 1 and step 2. They can find it online on the Commissioner's office under this item. For your consideration, we'll have all the backup information related to this proposal. And also, after you may take an action on this item, we will upload it on the general web page related to the budget. And that will be all that information that will be available to the public.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Just a couple of comments. we had a restoration of court impact fees, but that was a restoration of money from last year's budget, and we are still, in my opinion, too close to our minimum reserve level, especially in light of the fact that we deferred many requests from this budget amendment. We did not deny a lot of them. We deferred them because it was too preliminary to decide whether it was going to be something that needed to be adjusted or not. So we're going to have difficult decisions I predict, in the fall. And then I just want the folks to understand that this is another one of those, these amendments involve dozens of decisions by the commissioners, and because we're a 3-member body, not each commissioner agreed with each particular line item, but this is an amalgamation of our votes on dozens of items. I think everything I wanted to fund got funded, but a few things got funded that I voted against, frankly. So I just want the record to be clear. If you have questions for me about how I voted on a particular item, I'm happy to answer that question. Just contact me, and I'll let you know why.
Perfect. And it's exceedingly complex. That's why it's taken us so long, almost a month, to get through all these changes and amendments and such, approving and disapproving, thumbs up, thumbs down. And so I commend all the work that our finance department has done on this to this end. It's a tremendous effort. So I thank them for that. So with that, anything further?
Well, I guess the only thing further I would say, this is quite an important action I'm going to propose, but it's quite short for how complicated it is. And I want people to realize that a lot of work went into this. It just happens to be a short resolution. I would move to adopt budget amendment number 1, including attachments A, B, C, and D.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt budget amendment number 1, including attachments A, B, C, and D. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. And that takes us to the commissioners reporting in on boards or sessions, assignments, things that we've done. And I'll start with Commissioner Edwards.
The main thing for last week and yesterday, I guess that's what our time frame covered, is biosolids in Yelm, and working with that community. Those folks are very upset. The state is saying one thing, and scientists that they've contacted are saying another. And the one thing is that this stuff isn't so bad, although they often comment that they don't know what pharmaceuticals or heavy minerals, what adverse effect they might have. And then we've got the scientists on the side of the citizens that do point out very detrimental reactions to things like pharmaceuticals and heavy metals. So that's consuming a lot of time. It's a very important issue to those folks in that community. But not only that, to everybody that cares about the environment, this is very important, because the Nisqually River runs right into the Puget Sound, and we could get right into the food chain and the orca problem and salmon. It is a very important topic that, to me, is not getting proper scrutiny by the Department of Ecology, but I'll just let it go there. I don't want to prejudge anything, because maybe those folks are going to come around and really put some research into the problems this could cause. That's it for me.
Commissioner Menser.
So I have a number of things. I'll try to go quickly. We don't have a full room, but I know people do listen to this and watch. So first I want to say the West Thurston Regional Fire Authority has a replacement levy on the August 6th ballot. This is a fire authority that covers the majority of my district, District 3, and 25% of the total landmass of Thurston County. They've got a number of challenges as they try to cover that kind of area with a small staff, and this levy would be very important, and I hope folks will take a close look at it down in District 3, and it branches into District 1. Secondly, it is Ride Transit Month, and if you go to I'm on the board of Intercity Transits. If you go to ridetransitmonth.org, you can pledge to make 3 public transit trips this month, and you register to win prizes. You can also go on Facebook and do a 150-word essay on why you ride public transit, and you could potentially win prizes through that. I spent time yesterday exploring some of the transit connections. We have a situation with Pierce and Thurston County where they used to collaborate on on cross-county transit, and Pierce County pulled out of that deal. And now we've picked up the load, and we are figuring out how we can bring Pierce County back, because there are folks from Pierce County that commute to the state capitol, just like there are people in Olympia that commute to Thurston, to Pierce. So I explored some of those connections to see how our systems are working, and it was an interesting trip yesterday. A sad note, we said goodbye to a court commissioner, Jonathan Lack, this afternoon. He has accepted a position in King County. As a former family law attorney that appeared in front of him on an almost daily basis, I can say that he was just an absolute asset to Thurston County. And we all, and speaking on behalf of my former law firm and former colleagues, there was a huge turnout today at the family court to say goodbye to him, and it's a big loss for our county. So best of luck to Commissioner Lack. I'll be doing I'm trying to do quarterly outreaches to the community. The next one I'm doing is the 20th of June. I'll announce it since we're not going to have a board meeting next week. It'll be at 5:30 because folks wanted an evening event, 5:30 or 6, at Matchless Brewing in Tumwater. So we're trying to go up and down District 3, morning and evening events. We're going to talk about a range of issues, so a chance to kind of sit down with me and ask more questions directly to a commissioner. This morning I attended Innovative Justice meeting. Couple of exciting things to report. Pretrial Services, Marianne Clear has announced the hiring of the new diversion officer, which is going to be really an important piece of our strategy to connect our in this case, out of custody defendants with treatment and mental health services and things of that nature to try to help get those cases resolved and get those folks connected to treatment. So that this person's going to be really focused in on that piece of our puzzle. And then the second thing, which was also really exciting, was that Thurston County landed one of 7 places in the United States through the Advancing Pretrial Policy and Research group to basically help us revamp our risk tool, what's called a static risk tool. And that's the set of criteria by which we evaluate who's risky to be in the community or who presents more of a risk to the community in terms of setting bail and conditions of release. So this is kind of I think a forward-thinking group that's helping 7 different places in the United States. Apparently 3 of them are in Western Washington. So we'll have a couple of sister counties that we can sort of share data with. I talked to the folks who had been interviewed extensively. They were in the commissioner's office last week, but apparently they've interviewed prosecutors, public defense. Everybody was very impressed with the thoroughness and the kind of data that they're going to be able to collect and pour back into our risk tool, which will help us with bail issues and our jail issues. So there was that. And then finally, I wanted to report on so water issues really took up most of my time between working a presentation regarding RIA 13 salmon recovery. I did a training on the Streamflow Restoration Act, which is our Hearst Fix legislation. I'm going to be working with Shale Basin on the planning unit, and we had a training involved in how to evaluate the water projects in terms of which ones are going to help offset those permit exempt wells. And then third, I attended the Chehalis Basin Board. This is a board that involves 3 members of the Chehalis Flood Authority, 2 governor appointees, and 2 tribal representatives. They set policy at the highest level through the Office of Chehalis Basin. And Thurston County does not have a seat, although I'm trying to change that. But I am attending that, and when time permits, I will continue to attend that to make sure Thurston County's voice is represented and we have knowledge of what they're doing. Because Thurston County has a huge amount, and it's mostly in my district, is of the upper Chehalis Basin. So it seems to be a Lewis and Grays Harbor dominated group, but I want to make sure Thurston has our sort of foot in the pond, so to speak. And it was just interesting because I sort of realized that Thurston County, all of us, but particularly my district, District 3, is uniquely situated between the two different water worlds, as I call it, of the Puget Sound, because the top of my district is half of Totten Inlet, all of Eld Inlet, half of Butt Inlet. The bottom of my district is almost entirely the Chehalis Basin. And those are only that piece of land in the whole Washington fits that bill with 1 foot in each world. And those are two totally different worlds with different recovery plans and apparatuses, and it's all about salmon recovery. In Puget Sound, you're going up to Seattle and Tacoma and Gig Harbor, and it's very urban centered. Then you've got Grays Harbor and Lewis County kind of dominating the Chehalis Basin conversation with all sorts of different stakeholders and agricultural interests and flooding issues. So they're very overlapping, but they're also very different. And I feel like I've been given a unique position to kind of be part of both worlds. And so I'm kind of embracing that opportunity and trying to be as involved as I can. And then, and it's helping me to see the connections between the issues of habitat restoration, salmon restoration, and flood protection. That's it.
Wow. Sort it out and get back with us, would you?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
I have 2 questions, though, for you.
Yeah.
Number one, for your outreach for the Matchless Brewing,
Yeah.
are you going to be playing your banjo?
I didn't think of that, but
Just
no
wondering.
reason I couldn't bring it along if somebody really wants
And
to.
number 2, on a more serious note, can you opine as to why, or do you know why Pierce County decided to back out from a
This
collaborative?
has happened in the past. I don't know. We've discussed it at IT, and it was just sort of a fact. I didn't go into the history. I mean, it might have been a budget issue. Maybe they're free. In my opinion, it's kind of a free rider issue because they knew we weren't going to. Maybe our system was better funded, and they thought they could get. I don't know. I don't want to ascribe nefarious motives to them, but the net result of it is that intercity transit has maintained those routes, which helps Pierce County residents. We used to share that cost. We no longer do, and it's something that we want to address.
It was a big benefit. It
Yeah.
was. All I have to report, it was a long, short work week for me. I attended the City, Nation, Place Conference in just outside of Los Angeles in Hollywood, California. And it was I went down with a contingent of Visitor Convention Bureau folks, a couple of media folks, and private business people, and economic development people attended, and the City of Lacey and the City of Olympia also attended. And it was an eye-opener because it's not just about development and visitor and tourism and such. It was quite a bit more than that. It was a 2-day conference, or a day and a half. And a couple of my walkaways were in attracting folks to the capital county is how we tell the story, of course. We all know that. But it's about how to get people to see and live, eat, and breathe Thurston County tomorrow, today. And how do we do that? We tell the story of what we are, what we're going to be, but get them here today through experiencing that. As well as when you look at the frame of mind, when most people think of parks, they think of city parks. And so they think of baseball fields and playgrounds for kids and maybe some woods and trails and such. But when you talk about rural or county parks, you're talking about natural resources. You're talking about rivers, streams, lakes, waterfront, a lot of trails and deep trails and such, and waterfalls, if I didn't say that already. And when you look at city parks, they have staff anywhere from 12 to 20 to 30 folks within the city with parks, whereas when the county, our furthest southeast park is Deschutes Falls Park, not Tumwater Falls Park, but Deschutes Falls Park, way out south of Yelm, which is a stunning gem of a park in the county. Huge waterfalls and trails and such. All the way up to the northwest, which is Fry Cove up there. And I believe the distance between the two is about an hour and a half to 2 hours in travel time. And we have currently 4 parks employees. So one of the things I learned was, or what I took away from this conference, even though it's just a small tidbit, there was a whole lot that I don't have time to go into, was rather than just calling it a county park, we have natural resources. And we have natural resources in the county that need protecting. They need our protection and our guidance. So any type of development that comes in. We've got to really balance it with our natural resources because that is a draw to Thurston County. People come to the cities for events, they come out to the county, and this is where they choose to stay. It was a really well-attended event. It's an annual event, and it's national and international. There was a group that actually brought a perspective from outside the country, the demographics of the visitors from China. What are they looking for? Why are they coming here? And what do they expect for their dollar? What do they expect and how they travel in groups and how they travel in tour buses? And the old adage of folks from China traveling in a big entourage bus is out the window. That's old. And we went through a fascinating 1-hour presentation on how vastly different folks from different countries, how they view not only America, but Washington State and what they come here for. So there's a lot of work to be done with the group that I traveled with. And then on Saturday morning, I did an interview with Dick Poost on KXXO or Mix 96. And he asked a ton of questions about the courthouse. And so that was about a 15, 20-minute gig. It'll be played sometime in the next month or so. And tonight, I'm attending the Olympia West Lions Club meeting downtown because I'm a member of the Lions Club. And we're preparing for the annual book sale, which is on Saturday, June 22nd. And it's from like 9 in the morning until probably 4 or 5. And there is thousands of books, from children books up to novels, and sometimes you'll find some type of a collectible in there. And it's a book sale, however, it's just done by donation. So if you want to pick up 10 books and you give $2, that's your prerogative. Some people come in, and because it's a donation to the Lions Club, they'll pick up 1 book and leave it 20. So it all averages out. But it's a dollar well spent because 100% of that money goes back into the community, 100%. So it's a worthwhile event. And I'm also going to be setting up dates tonight with the Lions Club to go and in the fall to present on the courthouse and give kind of a state of the county address, because this is the last meeting for the summer. Anyway, come out to Hagen's, June 22nd for the book sale. You will not be disappointed. And that's all I had to report. Other than, I just want to remind folks there is no board meeting on Tuesday next, June 18th, 2019, no board meeting. And now I turn it over to the county manager.
Thank you, Commissioners. So considering there is not going to be a meeting next Tuesday, June 18th, I'm going to walk you through your upcoming schedule, combined schedule for the next 2 weeks. Beginning today, June 11th at 3:30 in the afternoon, you have your regular Board of Health meeting. Tomorrow, Wednesday the 12th, 1:30 in the afternoon, you have an update from Superior Court. 2:30 in the afternoon tomorrow, Wednesday the 12th, you have a follow-up briefing related to a proposed emergency housing ordinance and interim regulations. At 3:30 in the afternoon tomorrow, Wednesday the 12th, you have a briefing related to the public health and social services accreditation process. Thursday, June 13, at 9 in the morning, you have a briefing related to the human resources and risk management internal services rates. 10 in the morning, June 13, you have your regular commissioners check-in, and I will be providing an agenda 24 hours in advance. 3 in the afternoon on June 13, you have a briefing on the Agri-Tourism Committee. Friday, June 14th, you have been invited to participate on the Sweet Day Royalty Coronation event at 6 in the afternoon, which is going to be located on the Sweet Hall on 18543 Albany Street in Rochester. Moving on to next week, June 17 at 5 in the afternoon, you will be attending the executive seminar on the emergency management located on the Tilly campus. I believe this appointment was not included on the master calendar, but we will be including that appointment for you to attend. Tuesday, June 18th, 9 in the morning, you will have the agenda setting. You'll be reviewing the agenda for June 25th. No meeting, no regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners for June 18, 2019 that has been canceled. Wednesday, June 19th, at noon, you have luncheon with your fellow elected officials here in the county. Thursday, June 20th, Commissioner Messers, Commissioner Hutchins will be attending at 1 in the afternoon the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization Governing Board meeting, which is going to be located in Mason County. Friday, June 21st, you will have a day-long planning session, which is going to be held at the Tilly campus, Rainier Room, from 9 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, and an agenda will be published 24 hours in advance. And that will take us through the whole next 2 weeks. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Is there anything for the good of the order?
No?
No?
Everything's good.
Then we're going to adjourn, and in about 15 minutes, we're going to adjourn again as the Board of Health. This meeting's adjourned.